Welcome to the only podcast on the planet dedicated to exploring the art, science, and lifestyle of wholesalers and their leaders. This is the new Wholesaler Masterminds radio show. I'm your host, the founder of Wholesaler Masterminds, Rob Shore. In this special episode of the new Wholesaler Masterminds radio show, wholesalers, we're going to flip the microphones around. That's what we're going to do, to flip the microphones around. I was recently a guest on the Resilient Advisor podcast. The owner of that podcast, former wholesaler and consultant to advisors, is Jay Coulter. Jay happens to be with me right now. Jay, welcome to the new Wholesaler Masterminds radio show.
Rob, thank you very much.
Jay, just give us a quick skinny on what is your podcast, who is it pointed at, and we'll use that as kind of the framework for what they're going to hear. That is to say, what our wholesalers are going to hear.
Sure, Rob. So the Resilient Advisor podcast is a very niche podcast focused on serving financial advisors, whether they're in the wirehouse space or independent. We feel that there's so many great resources out there for financial advisors. And through my consulting business, we have so many great stories to tell that we thought a podcast would be a great way to leverage technology and get some great stories and resources out to the marketplace.
That's awesome. So wholesalers, I did about 20 minutes with Jay. What you'll hear following is that interview. I hope you enjoy it. I know there's a couple of nuggets in there that you can use. And we'll look forward to talking to you next time on a regularly broadcasted show of the new Wholesaler Masterminds radio show.
Being an advisor today is incredibly challenging. This show is for advisors who want to build resilience in their business and their personal life. Here is the creator of the Resilient Advisor, Jay Coulter.
Thanks for downloading this episode of the Resilient Advisor podcast. This episode is sponsored by Pinger Systems. At Pinger Systems, we build custom contact management and social media systems for sales professionals. Please visit pingersystems.com to learn about how we can help you build your digital footprint. On this episode, I'm excited to bring you one of the best-known thought leaders in the financial services industry, Rob Shore. He is the founder of wholesalermasterminds.com, the leading online destination for wholesaler practice management. He is also the host of Wholesaler Masterminds Radio, a weekly wholesaler practice management podcast that's available on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. He's also the author of Brotherhood of the Bag, a wholesaler's handbook, and the former editor-in-chief of Carry the Bag, the official magazine of wholesaling, and a publication that I myself read back when I was a wholesaler. Rob, thanks for coming on.
It is my pleasure, Jay. Glad to be here, and thank you for that introduction.
So, Rob, experience has taught me that an advisor's experience with each wholesaler individually is binary. They either love them or they want nothing to do with them. And everyone knows as well that they're very valuable partners out there, especially for the high-performing financial advisors. Now, Rob, you have logged over 5,000 hours working with the best of the best wholesalers. And so let's have a discussion, given your experience, on how an advisor would know if they're partnering with the right wholesaler. Rob, what is the first thing an advisor should look for?
Well, all of this we had put to paper for an American College Wealth Channel magazine article. And the title of the article was 8 Ways to Know You've Partnered with the Right Wholesaler. And the first thing, though not in any real particular order, the first thing I think it's important that the wholesaler has a keen interest in you and displays that interest by virtue of the fact they know your backstory. You know, one of the things we talk about Wholesaler Masterminds is the importance of advisor reconnaissance. And by the way, advisors, I would say to you, if you're not using the same principle of client reconnaissance, then forgive me, shame on you, because this is powerful. This melts the natural icicles that exist in the sales situation. So we inspire our clients to do advisor reconnaissance. When their cheeks hit your guest chair, they should know something about your practice, about your background, perhaps about your family. And it's not just 6 degrees of separation, knowing where you went to college and relating that to their Uncle George, who also went to Dartmouth. It's knowing things about you. And so few wholesalers do this, but when you find the ones that do, it really exemplifies the wholesaler that's interested, truly interested in knowing about you.
You know, I just had a conversation last week with a national sales manager for a large distributor, and we were talking about this very issue. And he says when he travels with some of the newer wholesalers, he's blown away at how few have done this recon, given all the information out there. And Rob, do you suggest that the wholesalers go beyond just looking at LinkedIn to get their information in the recon?
Absolutely. I mean, LinkedIn, well, let me back up. The place you start is Google, because if you have a LinkedIn profile, by virtue of the fact that LinkedIn is so powerfully branded and shows up so high in the search results, if you have a LinkedIn profile, then if I Google you and your practice or you and your city, I'm going to find your LinkedIn profile. But I want to be able to see things like a full range of things. I want to see your LinkedIn profile. I want to see your own website. I want to see broker check. I want to see what appears on any third-party site that I can glean. I'm going to look at LinkedIn. I'm going to scour LinkedIn thoroughly for where I can find nuggets that'll touch your heart as well as your head. And then I also want to look at a site called yougotthenews.com, because if I look at a site called yougotthenews.com, I'm going to be able to get a shortcut into Google News and find out if you're hitting the media. Because if you're hitting the media in some way, you never know what I might be able to pull up about you that you otherwise wouldn't have displayed on your own website, but I can find out something productive that's going to help me form a relationship with you.
Yougotthenews.com. I'll put a link for that in the show notes. So the first thing they need to do is make sure they've done the recon on the advisor. So as the advisor with the wholesaler shows up and they have done that, that's step one. But that's kind of the first step, isn't it? Like you just got to, that's the first barrier to entry.
Well, it is a good demonstration by the wholesaler that they give a rip about something beyond product, and they're viewing you through a lens that isn't homogenized, that you're just another advisor. Now, the next thing I would look for if I were an advisor scoping a good wholesaler relationship is that they're going to bring me value beyond product. You know, there have been studies done on Ignites. There was a study done at wealthmanagement.com about what you, the financial advisor, want and what you want from wholesalers. And it came through loud and clear. It's not a secret, but it continues to come through louder and clearer that value that goes beyond product is critically important. So at Wholesaler Masterminds, we call it the PVP, the Peerless Value Proposition. What do you have besides product? What do you have besides service? And it's not the germane or the generic, I should say, statement of I can help you grow your practice. I wish I had $1 for every wholesaler that said to an advisor, I can help you grow your practice. What it is something specific that you can attribute to that advisor, or that wholesaler, I should say, that represents the wholesaler's brand. And it's not about their bow tie, and it's not about the fact that they wear pink. It's about the fact that they know a lot about generational wealth transfer. They know an amazing amount of information about centers of influence and can help me navigate getting better attention from centers of influence like CPAs and attorneys. They have a specialization that is their secret sauce that adds to the brilliance of product that they bring. And if you can find a wholesaler that has crafted and built out a peerless value proposition, can bring you something besides just product, I say just in quotes because the product's important, it fuels both of our businesses, then you found someone special to work with.
What are some of the better or more unique peerless value propositions that you've seen in the market?
I gave you two. So one is center of influence. Again, someone that this was framed after a wholesaler that I worked with who had a career of working in CPA firms before she became a wholesaler. She came to wholesaling a little bit later in life. And she knew the ins and outs. She knew what appealed to CPAs. She knew what turned off CPAs. She knew what CPAs looked for in partners, et cetera. And so she was abundantly qualified. I've seen wholesalers develop peerless value propositions around being client engagement experts. They understood event management and event planning. I've seen wholesalers develop PVPs around helping advisors network better. It's a pretty robust list of things that wholesalers can do to help the advisor build the practice beyond product.
So they show up understanding the advisor, and then they're able to articulate a peerless value proposition. What's next?
Again, not necessarily in a sequential order, but they're going, and this is not a mutually exclusive list either, but they're going to ask for and understand the goals of your practice. One size does not fit all. They better be asking the right questions and listening closely to the answers, and then have the emotional intelligence to hear the answers between the answers, understand what the goals and objectives are of the firm, unless, of course, they've learned a great deal of those in their advisor reconnaissance, and then they can play those back and get validation on them. But they're doing their best to get under the hood of the practice to be able to offer the most value to the practice. So somebody that's taken the time to understand your goals, I think, is critically important.
So to put my former wholesaler hat on, when I would ask an open-ended question trying to capture that information, especially, in the 2010, 2011, 12 time period, a lot of the responses were, yeah, another wholesaler wants me to tell them about their practice. What do you got? How would you suggest the advisor who has that type of mindset kind of reframe it in terms of the information that they share and how it could be used to help them in that relationship with the wholesaler?
Yep. So I think one of the ways that it starts to get reframed, in our opinion, is when the wholesaler demonstrates the keen interest in the advisor and their practice at the outset and drops their advisor reconnaissance on them, because hopefully that's going to loosen up the rather curmudgeonly advisor that is resistant to give more information to the wholesaler. We hope that's the case. Now, I'm not talking about a drop-in where somebody's knocked on your door and they're interrupting your day, and that's not what I'm talking about. I am talking about when you've consented to sit down with a wholesaler for 15 to 45 minutes in a scheduled environment. So hopefully the advisor reconnaissance piece does its job, and it starts to disarm the advisor. I think the big takeaway is that great wholesalers, not average wholesalers, great wholesalers have a wealth of knowledge that cascades across a broad spectrum of topic. It is about product, it's about competitor product, it's about growing your business and practice management. It's about they have a peerless value proposition. They might be able to help you with technology. They might be able to help you navigate your own firm's data mining. There's a host of different things that can come from the relationship with a wholesaler, not to mention the piece that I like to put dead last, because it's supposed to be last, not first, and that's how they can help you from a marketing standpoint if you need to be able to partner with them, reciprocally partner with them, to be able to help you grow your practice.
Gotcha. And are you talking specifically of seminars or just any marketing in general?
Any marketing where a wholesaler has to open their checkbook, it would be my idea that an advisor is thinking reciprocally.
Yes.
And that means that the advisor is in a spirit of partnership and understands that when a wholesaler opens their checkbook, what they're going to provide in return is an ample opportunity for their book of business to get exposed to the wholesaler's product.
Let's talk a little bit about the internal and the internal's relationship with the financial advisor. And again, I'm just taking this from my experience carrying the bag, is that I found a lot of advisors weren't receptive to communications from an internal because they were just being inundated by calls from internals. How could a financial advisor leverage an internal resource in an effective way?
And that is, it is a problem that becomes more pervasive, and frequently the internal partner of the external wholesaler is simply following the mandate of management, which is pick up the phone and dial. Hence, if they do get you live, which is rare, they're not armed with as much productive information as they should be armed with to assist you. And if they are leaving messages, they're leaving messages which are programmed and rote, and you're probably not getting through the first 10 seconds of them. So if somebody has a great internal partner, they're going to be able to follow through on the concept of peerless value proposition, as an example, help you in that specialized area. They're going to give you access to firm resources that are available to those folks that are partnering with the team, internal and external partner. They'll be giving you exposure to entities within the firm that otherwise you might not have exposure to, research that you might otherwise not have exposure to. They're helping to smooth down speed bumps in the business process So there's a multitude of reasons that the advisor can partner with the internal, appreciating that the advisor doesn't have time to react and respond to every internal that calls. But we're talking about how to find a wholesaler team now to partner with, not one to spend time with having a cocktail at a conference. I'm talking about how do you find the right team to partner with, and having a great internal partner that's highly responsive and thoroughly knowledgeable and knows how to break down doors to get service issues fixed and find me additional resources in the firm and is proactive in providing me with knowledge. Those are valuable people to my practice, in my opinion.
So it's been a while since I have been in a wholesaler capacity, but I used to try and bring my internal partner out to see my top 10 or 15 clients once a year. And I found that helped solidify the relationship, even if there was resistance at first. Based on the market today, are the top performing wholesalers or the most valuable wholesalers bringing their internal relationships out to meet with their advisors and having success?
Great wholesalers should bring their internal partners out to the field for a whole host of reasons that we've written about on our website, not the least of which is to put face to voice with their most valuable partners. So absolutely. I mean, it's only human, right? I mean, if I have the opportunity to connect with you face to face versus connecting with you via telephone, then the intensity of our relationship is dramatically increased. So absolutely, we think it's a pivotal idea to make sure that internals can meet most valuable partners in our business, i.e. our best advisors, when they're out in the field.
Gotcha. So what else should an advisor look for in a great partner?
You know, if your business is set up to do a lot of client event type of activity, if you're doing seminars, if you're doing social, if you're doing roundtable dinners, whatever it is that you're doing, you want to find a wholesaler that plays nice with clients. Do they have the right presentation of themselves, the right presentation of product? Are they able to put the right foot of their firm forward, and then also present you in the right way in that setting? So finding a wholesaler that is a partner in client events and plays that role well is a valuable asset.
Yeah, that makes sense. I always took it as a compliment when I was a wholesaler, when the corner office team would ask me to come and meet with their clients. And I'm not talking about just doing seminars because they wanted access to the checkbook, but to have the kneecap to kneecap meetings to help explain the value proposition of the firm I was representing. And it really does make for a powerful combination.
It does. It absolutely does. And just like anything, there's wholesalers that excel at it and wholesalers that could use improvement in that area.
Yeah, that's a great dovetail into product. And I used to always say, and I'm sure this is way too much of a generalization, that there are only two kinds of wholesalers. There's the consultative kind, and then there's the steak and whiskey kind, who will show up, throw you a fat card, and then take you out for a steak. The marketplace has changed a lot, hasn't it, Rob? And
steak and whiskey wholesalers, if there's any left, I don't know why they're still there, but they're a relic of a day long gone by.
I'm sure. And so with the shift to the consultative side, tell me about the type of product knowledge they bring more than just regurgitating what's on the fat card.
Well, the specific bolt that I'm talking about here is they not only know the granular nuance of the product that they represent, they're able to emotionally, through their emotional intellect, be able to connect it back to the needs of the practice. They're able to relate the competitor's product in a non-confrontational framework, to be able to point out the similarities and differences of competitor products. So it's not just their product, they're an expert on competitor product, and they understand how to turn business away as well as how to accept business. So, great wholesalers know when the advisor need that's being presented to them is not going to be met by their product. Great wholesalers know to refer that product to another firm because it will come back around and they will get their fair share as long as this is a partnership with my financial advisor. So they speaking to your framework of consultative, that's what consultative is. It's me understanding what are your needs and how can your needs be best met, and do I have something that meets those needs? And if I don't, I can show you someone else because I have vast knowledge of the product marketplace. And that's really what I'm referring to. Every wholesaler should know their damn product. It's part of their JOB. but do they have a well-rounded understanding of their product, their competitor's product, and a good, as we said together, a good consultative framework for how to present that.
Which the top performing ones do, and that's what makes them such great partners and such a great resource for financial advisors.
Correct.
Rob, this has been incredibly valuable. I appreciate you coming on. Please tell us, how could listeners learn a little bit more about the services that you offer?
Sure. We offer services. My niche is super, super small. I work with wholesalers cross-channel in U.S., Canada. If you want to learn more about us, please visit us at wholesalermasterminds.com. The name of the podcast is The New Wholesaler Masterminds Radio Show. The New Wholesaler Masterminds Radio Show. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play, as Jay said. And we have 400 plus posts. If you want to know what's going through the brain of a wholesaler or what they're being inspired to think about and activate with you, the financial advisor, please check us out there.
Rob, thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
It is absolutely my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Jay.
This episode is sponsored by Pinger Systems. At Pinger Systems, we build marketing and social networking systems for executives and sales professionals. Our desktop platform and mobile app will help you connect with the people who matter and establish you as a thought leader in your market. Visit pingersystems.com for more information and learn about our money-back guarantee.
Wholesalers, it's Rob Short, Wholesaler Masterminds, and you may be thinking to yourself, Rob, you're thinking, what do you have besides this amazing podcast? And I'm so glad you asked. Wholesaler Masterminds has an assortment of product and services all designed around the art, science, and lifestyle of wholesaling. As an example, we have coaching services designed to help you power wash your practice, whether you have 2 years or 22 years. We'll offer you speaking live engagements at divisional or national sales meetings. Our scheduling service has dedicated professionals trained in the art of getting you more appointments, Wholesaler Mastermind schedulers. Our Speakers Bureau brings you amazing speakers and processes to get better return on investment out of those speakers. And finally, our partnership, our newest partnership with Allego. If you have Allego and want to get the Wholesaler Masterminds channel on your Allego platform, please let us know. Wholesaler Masterminds, happy to bring you this podcast and so much more. Wholesaler Masterminds, the art, science, and lifestyle of wholesaling.